Welcome to This Week in Nerf, your source for first-party, third-party, and community Nerf news. I'm Adriana, and I'm still in a strange place, and I'm fighting something in my throat, but here I am, talking to you, giving you the news. We have a lot today, so let's just dive right in. Our first story comes from Dirtestmichael, or Dirtestmichael, I'm not totally sure, on Reddit. He posted this photo of a Buzzbee 30-round drum, and he says that this packaging will be the packaging that the Buzzbee 30-round drum will be sold in individually, and that is super cool. Thank you so much, Buzzbee, for doing that for our community, essentially. I love being able to get things like drums outside of buying an entire blaster, so I think that is really, really exciting. I think that the information came straight from Buzzbee, I believe at Nuremberg Toy Fair. That's my guess as to how he obtained this photo and that information. And he also says that Buzzbee says it'll be less than $20 for this drum, and that's just so exciting. Thank you, Buzzbee. Now let's talk a little bit about Alpha Strike. And for those who don't know, Alpha Strike is Nerf's budget line. Essentially, they are built to have way less plastic in production, way less assembly cost in production, an all-around cheaper blaster, and it does come at a lower price, similar to comparative offerings from Dart Zone and Buzzbee. So, and they're also plastered all over the place with #1 blaster brand, because I feel like Nerf needs to remind you of that constantly. But the reason we're talking about the Alpha Strike line is because Rocket Billy found some fangs with new handles at Tesco in the UK. And this is really exciting because that has been the #1 complaint that just about everybody has had with the line in general. They just don't look comfortable. They look absolutely abysmal to hold. And having handles like this is definitely a step in the right direction. I do think it's really interesting how much of an afterthought it clearly was. There's a Nerf Taiwan video unboxing the blasters with these new handles, and their box has the old artwork on it. So it was definitely something that was added later as an afterthought. The question is, why? Is it added because of our complaints and to make it, to elevate it so that they actually look like the #1 blaster brand on the shelf? Because a lot of the Dart Zone offerings look better than the older versions of the Alpha Strike blasters, or maybe it's to add some consistency for the future. Let's talk about the Hammerstorm. Also at Tesco, the Hammerstorm is already for sale, and Monkeytron Collective picked one up and provided some photos of the internals. And from these photos, it's really raising some questions about what the intent of the Alpha Strike line was. This blaster is a clamshell. It has screws, it has lots of metal parts, it has way more plastic than all of the other blasters in the line. So Utter Travesty raised a really good question. Is it an anomaly? Is it the first blaster in a series shift to standard quality, or an unreleased blaster from a canceled line that's been repurposed and retooled for the budget line? And these are questions that we don't have the answer to yet. Something that we were speculating before was that it was from the Doomlands line, because it is essentially a negotiator, 8-shot Hammer Prime has a very similar handle, so we really jumped on that. But Utter Travesty also brought some interesting insights here too. It doesn't completely fit with what the Doomlands blasters were. It's not mechanical looking like a lot of the Doomlands were. It doesn't have a lot of the aesthetic stylings. And really, the design elements there seem more like the new Elite line. So I don't know if they're moving things or if it's just totally new, if they're trying to take the line in a new direction. And from this blaster, I am really, really excited to see the flight and figure out what path this line is headed down. But let's stop talking about blasters for a second and start talking about wars. WVZ3 has just been announced. So if you want some HVZ fun on the West Coast, July 17th to 19th at Oregon State University. Friday is going to be a meet and greet with a PvP tournament. Saturday and Sunday are HVZ. and I think it'll be pretty fun. If you're traveling, Eugene Airport is 40 minutes away and Portland is 1.5 hours. This is by car. However, the Portland Airport has a cheap shuttle that goes to some Corvallis hotels almost hourly. So for about 20 bucks, I think I'd probably take the shuttle and skip the rental car. And if you can't reach WVZ, if it's too far away from you, well, there are plenty of other large community events, so you have no excuse not to meet up with other Nerfers this year. FoamFest is in Europe. It's the largest Nerf convention, April 18th in Bristol, and there are games surrounding that event. There's also Endwar, June 26th to 28th at State College, Pennsylvania. That's a convention, an HVZ, and a tournament. And then later in the year, in October, we have Ragnar Oktoberfest in San Jose, California. We've also got a convention, the Stalking Dead, and a tournament. So come out, play at least one of these events. Come on. I've got a secret for you guys. Sometimes, if you ask really nice, the Target employees will show you their scanner. And this is the Dart Zone Pro Series Mark 1.1 on a Target scanner. For those of you who don't know, the Dart Zone Pro, the Mark 1.0, is a pump action springer. It's a premium offering from Dart Zone. They claim that it reaches 150 FPS, but it actually reaches 160 to 170, which is insane for something totally out of the box. But this listing on Target was very recently added, so there's no solid information about what the contents are specifically, what the price is, or what the 0.1 update means. I think that the 1.1 is the most interesting thing here. I'm leaning towards guessing that it's a differentiation from the collector's edition rather than an entirely new thing, and it probably won't have all of the extras that were included in the collector's edition. That was the super limited run. But I'm hoping that it's updates for the small complaints that we had about the blaster, things like the stock not being quite rigid enough, things like the worker darts not performing quite as well as they could be. But mostly, I'm just very, very excited. This will be widely available at Target, easy to pick up for everyone, and no one has to deal with these ridiculous eBay scalpers anymore. It'll be super great for people to be able to buy a blaster off the shelf and be able to be competitive immediately without any modding skill involved, just player skill. The future is good. I am looking forward to this. And now it's time for Mod of the Week, and it was a little bit difficult to pick this week, but we ultimately decided on Guzmo's Diatron, and this thing is pretty beautiful. His goal was to make something more alien looking. He felt like everything he'd done was too realistic, too human, and I really think that that goal was achieved. To be fair, Vortex blasters are a very good baseline to start with that goal. The sparkly colors, they're beautiful. They pair really, really well. I love the dry brushing to bring out that funky alien scale texture, and that organic kind of feel in the bulk of the blaster alongside the very mechanical priming handle looks awesome. And I love that the joint in that handle looks extra greasy and gross, like it's just a thick lubricant in there. It's a really good looking blaster. I can tell you put some time into this. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And that is all the news I have for you this week. Thank you so much for watching. I'll be back here next week on your computer screens at Monday, 9 a.m. Pacific. And if you need more information about anything that I talked about today on the news, you look down in the description, and that's all written out there. And if you want to see more picks for Mod of the Week, check out the This Week in Nerf Digest at news.foamblastshop.com. And I'm also writing an editorial there this week about loot boxes in the toy aisle and how I think that that is evil. Anything else, Michelle?
What are those things behind you?
Oh, I don't know what that is. They're shiny. Bye, everybody. I didn't write out like all of my thoughts, and then I was like, oh no, oh no. Talk a little bit about Ultra Strike. Nope.
This is far.
Far from Ultra. This is the Dart Zone's. I didn't explain what the DZP was, which I should do. in a fairly, I should figure out how to explain this first. I don't think I'm gonna make it in this take. WVZ3 is weird to say. We don't know. And also my script is gone. It's a little bit echoey in here. Is the Dart Zone Pro series, Dart Zone, Jesus. Go to Foamblast shop. What is it? News.foamblastshop.com. Damn it, I gotta do this whole thing again.